everybody. Thank you for stepping into my parlour today. I'm going to ditch everything else today and get straight to business. Okay, I predicted it. I told you that Harry had Metropolitan Police protection the last time he was in Britain. He also had it previously. They were actually caught on camera. Harry, his private bodyguards, and 2 Metropolitan Police officers, a male and a female, and the female was even carrying what I would assume to be one of Harry's bags as they entered some hotel. And like I said, that was even previously and not the last time. But last time we saw them openly in a second vehicle. So yes, we all knew he still had met security. The only difference being that he had to give 28 days notice of his arrival. But you see, the reason why Harry kept going back to court was because it was not good enough for him. He wanted the whole hog. Let me explain. You see, last time we joked and said he actually wanted the blue lights, the outriders and traffic stopped. Except that it was no joke. It was only part of what he wants. So what does he want? Well, it's simple. He wants what William has, including the IPP status. So to explain this even more and in detail, let's have a look at exactly what William the King and other working royals have. First, I'm going to read to you the official summary of the security reviews, and it reads, "Working royals typically undergo security reviews on a regular basis, though the exact frequency can vary. Security assessments are generally conducted annually. Additional reviews may occur in response to specific incidents or changes in circumstances. Factors influencing reviews are changes in public engagement or travel plans, evolving security threats or intelligence assessments. Changes in personal circumstances such as marriage or new roles. Security protocols include reviews involve collaboration between royal security teams and law enforcement agencies. Recommendations from these reviews can lead to adjustments in security measures. While the annual review is standard, the dynamic nature of security needs means that assessments can happen more frequently as required." Okay, so these are the details about reviews for working royals. We'll get back to it in a minute or two. First, we are going to look at the various members of the working royals and what kind of security they have. Now, I'm telling you, it will not be 100% accurate because the royal protection are not going to share it all, so potential threats can prepare an attack or whatever. But the basics are all we need for this particular exercise. Okay, so the King's security is multi-layered and involves both police and military forces, coordinated to provide close personal protection as well as physical security for royal residences and at public events. The primary components of the King's security are the Metropolitan Police, which is the main body responsible for Charles's day-to-day personal security. And this police protection itself comes in three forms or three levels. There is the PPOs, the personal protection officers. These are highly trained, often plainclothes armed officers who are always with the king when traveling or at events. Then there is the residential protection group, and these are uniformed armed officers tasked to secure royal residences like Buckingham Palace and Windsor Castle. And then there is the Special Escort Group, the SEGs, which is a unit of armed officers on motorcycles and in vehicles who provide mobile armed protection and motorcades. Then, of course, there's also the military. We are all familiar with the famous household cavalry. Well, these blokes do not just look great and only perform during events, but they are highly trained members of the armed forces. The king also receives regular briefings on national and on his family's potential threats. So we would also be correct to include MI5, MI6 and GCHQ as playing a role in the king's security. The monarch thus has different levels of security at different times of the day, during different events, etc., etc. Now, Prince William and his family receive the same levels of security, but at a reduced rate, or how should we put it? A reduced number of personnel. Okay? For instance, Prince William still drives himself on a number of occasions and for personal events and visits, which does not mean that he does not have security at such a time. No. But at which point he will, for instance, not have outriders and so on and so forth. Okay? He will just pop in a car with his security, maybe his wife and children in another vehicle with their security, and they will take off to go see her parents or whatever. They will have security, but it won't be announced to the whole entire world with motorcycles and helicopters, etc. So he has the same 24-hour security protection, but not with the overwhelming numbers of personnel and all the fanfare. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. But when it comes to the king, okay, King Charles has it all the time. Okay, outriders, helicopters, other vehicles, bodyguards, Met officers, you name it, 24/7. Now, getting to the other royals who are on the same level as Harry, in other words, non-working royals. Now, Andrew lost his state-funded security when he stepped down from royal duties in 2019. Zara Tindall, Peter Phillips, Eugenie, Beatrice, Louise and James are all grandchildren of Queen Elizabeth II, just like Harry. But they do not get any state-funded security, as, ta-da, they are not working royals. But then there is Princess Anne and Prince Edward, who are both children of the late monarch, both have royal titles and both are working royals. But their taxpayer-funded security is not provided on a full-time basis. They only get proper royal protection when they attend functions and events as royal or working royals. Yes, they do have state-of-the-art security systems at their homes, security support, but it is not paid for by the state or the king. They carry that cost themselves. There's a rumour, though, that Charles is currently subsidizing Andrew's home security. And that is likely why he wants Andrew to move to Sandringham, where he is already paying for the security. One must realize that, number one, Andrew is the Queen's son and the King's brother. Number two, Andrew resides in the United Kingdom. And number three, due to his current profile and trial by media, he may very well be at risk. The last time I said this, I got quite a bit of backlash when I said that the king has a duty of care. But my dears, don't shoot the messenger, and now that Meghan finds herself in a certain position due to her father's ill health, it is even easier to explain. The king, Charles, is a billionaire. He is the head of the Church of England, and he is constitutionally and as per his oath bound to take care of his subjects. So Charles does have a duty of care. He cannot leave his brother, his sister-in-law, his wayward son, or his evil daughter-in-law to suffer. It will be the absolute worst PR. I mean, can you imagine? This billionaire king is leaving his son in the gutter in Los Angeles, okay? Where he only eats once a week or whatever the case may be. It's not going to happen. But security-wise, there is a difference between leaving someone without food or leaving someone without a roof over their head and or paying for their security. Andrew is not receiving state-funded security, but his security was paid for by the Queen as from 2019 until her death. And now Charles is obviously not paying the full amount, but likely, or as the word goes, he is subsidizing it out of his pocket. Now, to which amount he's subsidizing it, whether it's half or a third or a quarter, I don't know. But it sounds very likely, okay? Now, the reason why, it's now easier to illustrate why Charles has a duty of care is because you just need to look at Meghan, who has now, for all intents and purposes, ignored her father's illness and struggles, and look what it's doing to her PR. We are calling her evil, uncaring, hard as nails, blah, blah, blah. Well, if Charles, as a billionaire, would turn around and leave one of his family members, no matter how close or how distant they are related, if he was to leave one of his family members in a similar state somewhere, it's very likely that he will get that kind of negative PR himself. Well, not likely, it will happen. So yes, I mean, in so many ways, he has a duty of care. There's a rumor that Charles even stopped that bit of subsidizing of Andrew's security. But I am told, and from a fairly, I would say, fairly, if not very, reliable source, that that is not true. He may have cut the amount, but he did not cut the subsidy. Okay, so your question would be, well, why then is he not subsidizing Harry's security? Well, my dears, here is the bombshell, or what I believe is a bombshell. I personally believe that Charles is subsidizing Harry's security. I believe that he paid for David Langdown. I mean, just give me a minute and think about it. Langdown was a Metropolitan Police officer for 16 plus years, 10 of which he spent as Royal Protection Officer. He is also not exactly a spring chicken. He is indeed, and I looked it up, 57. Now tell me, how good an offer must he have received in order to give up his pension and other police benefits? Any idea? I believe a rather good offer, a very profitable one. I firmly believe Charles is paying Broadstone Risks, which is Langdown's company, and Harry is paying Touchstone, Chris Sanchez's company. Now, my dears, I cannot prove it, but I'm telling you now that I firmly believe it. And although I can't share any and every little drop of information or, tidbit with you, I do have quite good reasons why I believe that. Okay, so now we see that Harry is indeed having a security risk assessment or review. And it's not coming, it's already happening, okay? Well, he has not had one since 2019. And why not? Well, it's easy, it's simple, because he chose to leave Britain. Not only to leave his responsibilities as a working royal, but he also left the country. And after doing so, he went ahead and he slandered the monarchy, the late queen, the current king, queen consort, and the future king and queen. So according to law, rules, and the constitution, not the country, not the government, nor the monarchy owes Harry Mountbatten Windsor anything, nothing. So in my opinion, if Harry wants additional security when in the United Kingdom, then him or his father can pay for it. But, I have a feeling Charles has already offered that. But no, Harry does not want more security. He wants the bells and the whistles and the reviews and the blue lights and the sirens and the earpieces. He wants his IPP status so that he cannot be prosecuted in the United States and so that he will be treated with the same bells and whistles as William wherever he goes. And like I said, William still has those bells and whistles turned off sometimes. But I can bet you Harry and his wife won't. they won't go to the corner store without those flashing lights and sirens. Now, you must also realize that the court had turned down Harry's risk assessment security review twice already, and that Ravik fought Harry all the way, and suddenly, wham, without a court or anybody else, he is indeed getting his review. Now, I'm willing to say that I'm 99.999% sure Charles actually picked up the phone and intervened. Why else, after 6 years of arguing back and forth, are they suddenly doing it? It appears that my one faithful contributor was indeed right. She said about 2 months ago that King Charles's health will deteriorate in the media, and then Harry will get his security back, and wham bam, Harry, Meghan and the children will be in the United Kingdom over Christmas. Why? Well, because his father is dying, and because with full Met security, Harry feels safe enough to bring his wife and children. And if it's not over Christmas, then my bet is it will be soon after. Now, I can also tell you that it is my belief that this had been in the making since Meredith Maines met with Torben Andre. Not that this says much about her. I don't think she has the power or even the bargaining power. But instead it tells you all about King Charles. What Charles wants is what Charles gets. And guys, I believe, and yes, I will admit that I may even be completely wrong, okay? But I believe that what both Charles and Harry want is to end the monarchy. I think that Charles wants to go down in history as the last King of England. I believe that he is so jealous of William, with whom he never particularly got on well, and who looks more like his mother, that he would rather have no monarchy than have William make a success of his reign. I also think that as a founding member of the WEF, Charles is prepared to sacrifice the monarchy for the ideology of a one-world government. And maybe Charlie would even like seeing Islam as that particular government, although I'm not very sure about that one. But I definitely think Charles's main motivation would be William and his popularity and possible success. I think Charles knows that welcoming Harry and his family back and giving them the same privileges as William and Catherine will likely add to the probability of a monarchy being voted out. People think it will be such a huge transition from monarchy to no monarchy, but it won't be. After South Africa became independent, we had a prime minister and a president, but it was just a waste of time and money to have a ceremonial head as well. And in 1984, the position of prime minister was dropped, and instead we now have an executive president. Anyway, guys and girls, it is my opinion that Harry will get his royal protection back. At first, maybe only when he's in England, but I think eventually in the next few months, I can't exactly put a timeline to it, it is likely that it will change from only in the United Kingdom to not only when he is in the United Kingdom. I think unofficially, or at least without telling the public, he will get his IPP back. But before I go, there is something else I want to touch on. I see there is a distinct possibility that Angela Rayner will return to the cabinet. Well, guys, I could have told you that as well. I also see that she's even mentioned as a possible replacement for Keir Starmer. As a woman who did not even finish school, honestly, that would be equal to South Africa having elected Jacob Zuma as president. But you know, it's not about what you know, it is about who you know and who will pull strings to have an excuse for private meetings with you. I already know what her bracelet will say. My Eliza Doolittle. Yes, guys, if you know, you know. If you don't, just wait. You will soon find out. Okay, guys and girls, that is it from me for today. Please take good care of yourselves and stay safe. Bye.